Hey guys, Mark from dinghy.com. Today I'm going to show you how to do an install on our undermount drop-down DAVIT system. So I'm going to take you through the whole process. This is just a makeshift platform we made out of plywood, just to make it easy for us to show you exactly how to install it and give you a good view of what we're doing. So let's get started. It's going to come in this fancy box here. Open that with care because you don't want to scratch anything underneath it. It does come with step-by-step instructions. Comes with the two cradle arms. We're only going to do one arm, like one setup. Obviously there's going to be two. So we're going to put half of this kit aside. Aside for now. These, by the way, are 1-inch thick. They're very, very heavy duty. This is a starboard or a seaboard, whatever you want to call it. It's what boats manufacturers use to make transom doors and that kind of stuff. It's pretty hardy stuff. It's UV resistant, and yada yada. All right, so this is going to come pretty much pre-assembled. I'll tilt that up so you can kind of see what we're looking at here. Put these aside. Here's the DAVIT itself right here. So this is going to get mounted under a platform like so. So let's get this mounted up a little bit better. Use this so we don't scratch our platform, our beautiful wooden platform. You don't need very many tools for this job. I'll run you through that right now. I'm gonna take the camera with me. A couple wrenches, 3/4 inch or 19 millimeters, the same. I'm using this little impact drill. This makes things go a little bit quicker. You don't need it though. And a 1/2-inch drill. Pencil, a little bit of tape. Tim Hortons coffee, very important. So let's get started. We're going to use this and this. All right, so back at it. These are our little angle brackets. So like I said, everything's pretty much pre-assembled, and even the bolts and washers are exactly where they should be, just to make it easy for you so you don't have to do any guesswork. It's not going to be a box of bolts. So that's going to slide in there, like so. I'm going to try not to go too much detail with all this stuff because it is in the instructions and I don't want to take 4 hours to make this video and bore you to death. So let's get that one on there. This is a great little system because when you're at the beach and you're swimming, you can drop it down underwater and you have nothing to kick your toes on and nothing to store in your boat. Pretty unique. I don't believe there's anything like this out there at the moment. Not yet. So I could do a quick look on that. Do the same here. We're going to adjust these after, so this is just to get them on for now. All right, so at this point here, you can mount the cradle arms if you want. I would suggest that you do take that bolt out. There is a couple little plastic washers here. You can put those aside for now until we're done our final install. They're going to go between these arms to stop it from sort of rubbing against the aluminum. So that was going to go in there like so. And the reason why we're doing this is because we've got to mock this up with a to mount it, we want to make sure there's no clearance issues, there's nothing, before you go and make holes in your platform. So, once you've determined where you want to put your dinghy or your sea-doo, I use a little piece of tape usually to kind of mark off where it looks good, and then you're going to grab this assembly and slide it under there and make sure that it all makes sense. That basically when you pull this all together, it's going to line up and everything's going to be good. So I'm going to show you what we're looking at underneath here to give you a better idea of what we're doing, and we'll go from there. Alright, so once again we've decided where we're going to mock this up, where we're going to put it. Let's open this up a little bit. And you're going to go under your platform and you're going to make sure that you're not going to be hitting anything. Now, as you can tell, our platform here it's got this section here that's thicker than this section, and that's where these adjustable legs come into play, where you can line them up and down. So we're definitely going to have to lower our front ones here. So let's do that right now. Alright, so I got the bolts loose enough that you can actually wiggle this steel, but we can still move them around. So now we're going to place this under there and determine where this is the right location for it. So once we have that arm in there, we're going to want to make sure that we can rock the plastic arm and it's not going to contact the top of the platform. So I'm pretty happy with that right now. That works good. I'm going to show you the clearance we have on top here. So that's sort of what we're looking for there. And like I said, underneath, it gives you a good indication of where we need to be. So now we're going to get started. Alright, so now that we've tested it underneath to make sure that there's nothing in the way, that this is all going to make sense, we're going to grab our davit, and you're going to want to have some tape with you. We marked the location where we want to mount the davit, and I would suggest grabbing a little bit of tape and covering the bottom of these legs here, because we're going to put this on the top of our deck. We don't want to scratch everything up. Alright, now that we have tape on our legs, what we're going to do is reverse this as if we're mounting it on the top of the platform. That's going to give us, we're going to line it up on our mark this way, and then we're going to set it up at the proper distance where we need to be here. Now these legs, if you adjusted them up and down, you're going to have to make them back level to each other. Because you want this to sit flat on the top deck. Better view of what we're doing. So we have it sitting on our platform. We have it lined up with our mark there. And the distance that we want to be away from the edge of the platform. You can go a little bit closer than this if you want. Let's call that one 1/2 inch. We're going to call that good. So this is basically going to be the location where we need to drill our holes. So we're going to leave that on there. Put this back here so I can give you guys a bird's eye view. And we're going to grab our drill with our 1/2 inch bit. And a very simple way to do it is to use this as your guide. So we're simply going to line it up, have it drill bit. Don't press hard on this, let it work its way through. This is wood, so it's different than gel coat. Gel coat is kind of a chalky material, so you definitely don't want to jam it in there and try to dig it right away. Just let it chew its way through. And try and keep your drill as straight as you can, of course. With it, nice and easy. There you go, you got a first hole. Now, don't go and drill all 4 holes right away. Grab one of your anchor bolts and drop it down in place. That's going to ensure that it doesn't move around on you and you don't end up with holes that don't line up. So, after you've done that hole, do the rear corner. Make sure that you're lined up square, exactly where you want to be. And again, drill your hole. Again. Drop another bolt there. That one's kind of interfering with the end of the bolt, which is fine, as long as it's in a position where it can't move. And then I'm going to fast forward through the rest, but just drill your 2 other holes. Alright, so we have our holes drilled now. We can take out our carriage bolts. Come out of the way. And we're ready to mount this under the platform. Get rid of our tape. Should have good and clean. So again, we're going to set these up so you can just barely move them. That one's a bit tight. Do the same with that one. Sure. So what we're going to do now is we're going to slide this under the platform and drop in our bolts. We're not going to worry about putting washers and lock washers and all that stuff on for now. Right now we basically just want to put it in place. And I'll explain that in a second why we're going to do it that way. Once we get that on there, grab our nut, spin it on. Alright, we have one in place. Rear one in. We can go ahead and adjust our arms to the right length. I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. Again, I'm going to move the camera. Alright, so we have it mocked up underneath the platform. And now we can go and put those nuts on there loosely, one on each side, and we can adjust our davit now where we need it to be. So we're going to push it in place. We determine that that's where we want to be, okay? Wiggle that one in place, looks good. Alright, pretty happy with that all the way around. Go ahead and tighten these here. A little bit tricky to do. Can you do it with the boat in the water? Yes, you can. I have done it. You're going to want to do it at a beach, somewhere where you can actually stand on the ground, obviously. And if you happen to drop a nut and bolt, that you're able to retrieve it, would be nice. Okay, so it's level. And we're going to tighten that one up. Alright. So now we're ready for the final step. Let me show you what we're going to do. Now that we have our carriage bolts on here, these ones, like I said, they have no lock nuts. There's nothing on them right now. The reason we're going to do that is because we're going to want to put marine sealant on these here before we actually put the bolts in, because we don't want water to go inside our platform and rot our platform. You're going to use some 3M 4200 or 5200. That's my preferred product. Really, you can use whatever, you know, if there's another marine product that you want to use, and go ahead. I would suggest you don't use silicone or any kind of weird tube. So you're going to be very liberal with this. I'll show you. You're really going to butter this up. You know, don't be shy with the caulking. It's okay to have too much. And I'm even going to put some on to the back side as well. It's going to make a bit of a mess, but that's okay. Better to have more than not enough. Now we can grab our bolt, the carriage bolt, and press it in there. I say it's a bit of a mess to get it in. So once we have our marine caulking in there, we can just push it down. It might be a little tricky to have it go perfectly on a bolt hole. If you have to loosen everything, go ahead. Basically, we're going to press that down tight. And then we can go and finish up and put our washer, lock washer, and nut on there and tighten that up a little bit. So then we can come across and we're gonna wipe all this off with a rag. Right, once we have that bolt tightened, fastened underneath, we can go ahead and wipe all the 3M off. Do a good job with this, best you can. And there you go, you have a nice clean install. Here's a view underneath. So you can actually see the marine sealant kind of oozed out the edges here. That's what we want to see. You can wipe that if you'd like. No one's really going to see it, but that's up to you. That bolt does come close to this. So you might have to raise it to get the nut on there. Or you will have to raise it to get the nut on there, but that's how it lines up when you're all said and done. So we're going to do that for all 4 bolts. Then we're going to come back and we're going to tighten these. We're going to put quite a bit of force on these. These here, you don't need to hang off it, but you want to put some weight on it. You want it to be nice and snug. And that's it. So I'm going to carry on and do the other 3 other bolts. And then I'll show you exactly how this all works. Alright guys, so we have our DAVIT mounted now. The final step is to put in our little nylon washers on the arm here. And that just stops it from being sort of sloppy and loose. Are they really necessary? No, but it makes for a much better feel. Hey guys, I'm going to set up the camera here so you can see what I'm doing. We got our bushings, our little washers I should say. This kit comes with 3. You can determine whether you need 3 or 2 by placing them in there. This one here seems to work better with 2. The plastic sometimes is thicker or thinner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it in and capture it with this little screwdriver. So I'm going to start off with the other side. Screwdriver in there. Try to get it without dropping it. So I got one side in. Then we'll start off with our bolt and push our bolt back through. So the little screwdriver lines up that bushing, the washer, sorry. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to slide that in there. Again, grab your little screwdriver to kind of hold it in place. And once you got it there, then you could line it up. Away you go. Painless. Thread that on there. And we can tighten this up. How tight you want to put this is up to you. I just like to tighten them up a bit to the point that there's not very much play in that arm. Maybe even a little bit of tension on it. So there's a little bit of tension, and that's solid now. There's no jiggling, there's nothing. The only thing that's jiggling is our platform. Alright, so now that we have everything assembled, the arms are on. Let's show you how it all works. So to load your dinghy or your seado, you tilt that arm, rock it on there, put it down. You can choose to lock this in place. Comes with a little pin, pops right through there, that locks the arm. So if you want to tie your seado or your dinghy to the end of these arms here, you can, and not have any ropes to your boat whatsoever. Another option, if getting this pin in is too difficult for you, because you sort of kind of have to crawl underneath your dinghy to pop it in, you don't need to put it on. Once that arm's on there and there's weight, it doesn't want to fall down. So if you put your clamp sort of on the edge of your platform or on your cleat and clamp it down, it just physically cannot lift. So those are your 2 options. I personally put the pins in, that's just my choice. Now if you don't put the pin in at all, the arm will actually articulate further. So if you want to walk by it, you don't want to collapse under water, you want to leave it like that. I use it for my Sea-Doo Spark almost as a bumper, because it gets chewed up underneath my platform because it's a plastic Sea-Doo. So this sort of acts as a bumper for it, so I've been using it quite a bit like this. And when you want to collapse underwater, all you do is pull this little pin here and push it down under. And that's it. You could go swimming, you could walk around your platform, there's nothing to hit your toes on, nothing to store. And when you're ready to use it, just reach down, pull it up. You can tie a rope to it if you find it's harder to reach down. I personally just reach underwater and grab it. And it automatically will lock, you'll hear it. That's it. So once that pin's in there, it's secured, it's locked, and you're ready to load it. Hey guys, I hope that was informative. I hope that helps you feel confident to install this on your own. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. And if you want to see some of our other products, you can go see them at www.dinghydavits.com.